Hey everybody, it is finally that time for a full-on sketchbook tour. I finished this again in another few short months from May to August. I like to keep track of the length of time that it takes me to finish sketchbooks. And this was a smaller sketchbook this time, so there was less pages, but I love this sketchbook so much. I love every single page in here, and I have two new sketchbooks coming very soon, and I'm excited to start both of them. So let's finish this one up and let's show you guys the full sketchbook tour. First page is a fun little spread I did with acrylic paint. I was really painting with acrylic paint a lot in the beginning, and I kept a lot of the palette paper that I used for a lot of those paintings, so you'll see those throughout. And this is a real clover that I picked, and I picked it in the middle of May. And these are some pieces of a blind box. I got my first Smisky recently, and I kept some of the pieces of the box and just added it to my sketchbook. Okay, and here's an example of that palette paper. I had to put some transparent paper on top of it because it started picking up against it. Acrylic on acrylic, it gets a little sticky, especially with the kind I use, because it's a very thick, plasticky kind of paint. So I had to be careful with some of those pages where I painted acrylic paint on both sides. So you'll see a couple of sheets in here, but I loved the palette after it dried, and it was just so pretty I had to keep it. So, and I actually used it for several paintings. I started painting with this in April, and then I used up all of the paint in May, and you can see some of the colors in there were in this painting. This is a dog with glasses and a tie, and it's just a really fun, silly little painting I did. And again, using that same paint, I painted a couple of pages using that paint because I have a wet palette now, so I am able to reuse that paint until it runs out. And I just painted there. I think I drew this snake at first because I see some marker lines in here, and then I just wasn't happy with that marker drawing, so I painted on top of it. And it's just the fun colors that I had. I really like the brown and the pink, and yeah, I was into drawing snakes in my smaller sketchbook, and I was like, let's just put a snake in here as well. There's going to be a couple of these, so I won't be seeing that too often, but there's another example of using those paints for this. This is a portrait I did with acrylic paint. I love the colors in here. I was gonna do like an orange background, and then I changed my mind and I did like a muddy green on top of it, so there's some orange peeking through that I also really enjoy. I was just so proud of myself how well I did with this portrait. I haven't really been painting portraits with acrylic paints probably since my self-portrait. Just had so much fun painting this. And then this was just a little doodle of some fruits, and this actually ended up being one of my wallpapers for my wallpaper club on Patreon. And I think this is the last page I did with all of that paint, where I painted some like random things. So here is a cat, and it's like blue and brownish. So I painted some, things with non-conventional colors, a fish in a suit and some stars and like a bright red background. And this is an example of where I just draw a lot on top of several other drawings. So if you like squint, you might be able to see a lot of the things underneath here. I was just drawing randomly with my Tombow markers, just like having a fun doodle page, but I didn't really like all of those things together, so I drew some watermelons on top of that with alcohol markers. So it looks messy, but it's sort of like an optical illusion where you squint or look back, it's a different thing or another thing. But I just really I like the messiness of it because all these colors kind of end up coming together, and I just have a fun time just fixing old pages that I really don't like. It's sort of this thing I've developed where I just go back to a page that I didn't like and I just keep drawing on top of it. And there's a few times where I just completely painted over it and then drew on top of that again. So there's going to be a lot of pages like this, but I do really enjoy this like sketchbook practice, where I just like keep trying to fix that page. And then here is a full spread with gouache paint. Silly little cat, some 4-leaf clovers or 3-leaf clovers, strawberries, stars, swirls, cactus. There's just a lot of like random things that I jumbled together that I think makes a like fun page. And I love the like berry color background. Here's another gouache spread. Again, there was drawings underneath this and I painted on top of it. So these are tomatoes that I did with gouache paint. And I spent several hours on this. I was just having so much fun layering on the colors and just like doing all the shadows and stuff and like doing little details. And I just had so much fun painting this page. And again, here's another weird sort of messy page. There was some drawings under here that I was gonna film painting them. The painting was just not going well, was not looking good, and I left it alone for a while, and then I came back to this, used some of that gouache paint and painted the background and this little portrait, and then I added some more random things. I thought I was gonna do like a full thing of flowers, but then I drew that portrait, so I was like, that doesn't really make sense. And then I randomly drew like a bunch of like berries, and these are with my Posca paint markers, so that's why there's not really that much color. But yeah, this is like a very random page. Oh, actually, I think this is with acrylic markers. Yeah, this is with acrylic markers. The background is gouache, and then there's acrylic paint markers and alcohol markers all in here. It's just like a big bundle of random materials. And I think this is the only page where there is no color. These are all sketches of my partner doing things like reading or playing on his guitar, writing. I just love to observe and draw things. And he's definitely my muse. I love to draw him. And then here's that spread that I did on my channel with trying out masking fluid for the first time. And I did a watercolor spread in here. There's not that many watercolor pages in here. I think this was the first one that I did. And I like the grid background with the like really green stars. I know, looking back at this, is not my favorite page. I really like the background. And another new product page. I got a lot of new stuff during this sketchbook. I tried masking fluid and I got acrylic paint markers. It's been like such a huge trend of all these artists trying these. I have a Shuttle Art acrylic marker set, and so this was like my first time painting with them. I thought it'd be fun to like have all of the colors on a page because they all look so pretty together, and I just wanted to do that like combined spread with the initial paint marker page. And I just fell in love with them so much. I was using them a lot. This whole sketchbook is almost full of acrylic paint marker drawings, but here is some more spreads. I drew some raccoons and some flowers and somebody holding a clover and a bunch of clovers in the background. And if you look closely, there's some real clovers in here that I just like glued to the page, and a tiny little ladybug as well. Here's a spread full of portraits. I believe there are some drawings underneath there. I cannot remember what they are because I can barely see it, but I did do some gouache paint in the background again. And then this was all acrylic paint markers. I don't have like a really big set, so there's not that many skin tone colors, so I had to work with what I have. So that's why some parts of these people's skin tones look a little weird, especially with all the paint underneath it. It was a fun challenge to like draw a bunch of faces. I did a video with my partner where he voiceovered my drawing without seeing the drawing. So this was the drawing that I did for that, and it was such a fun and hilarious video. Please check it out if you just want to laugh. But yeah, he likes dogs, so I drew a dog that I found with a clover in front of its nose. And then this was another page using acrylic paint markers, and here's all the colors that I used for this drawing. Just a, piece of strawberry cake with like some blue in the background. I wanted to do a little sketchbook thing where I drew all of my favorite things. So that would be cats, painting, ladybugs, clovers, strawberries, croissants, books, and pigeons. So like birds, animals, plants, and food and art. Basically, those are kind of all my favorite things. Oh, and books. This was like my first portraits that I did with acrylic paint markers. Like I said, this page I went back to, so that wasn't actually my first time doing that. So this was actually my first time doing that, and I forgot what color I had in the background, but I obviously changed it with some alcohol markers because it's like so saturated. I remember this was like alcohol markers on top of something. But yeah, these are 2 portraits that I did, and these are like drawings I did when I got my new my pencils. These are like colored pencil, erasable pencils, and they're like super fine tips, and they're really fun to draw with. So a lot of drawings, a lot of like sketches I did with these pens. So I was like watching movies while sketching, and then I decided to paint them. And I think there was also drawings underneath here. I remember there was a raccoon right here. You can actually kind of see it like on camera. There was a raccoon here, and then I drew some fishies on top. And then the raccoon didn't make that much sense, and I didn't know what else to do with the background, so I just kept drawing more fish. And these are all different kinds of tropical fish. Some of these are goldfish or betta fish. All of the other fish I don't know the names of. This is just like a fun page I did. A lot of these are really fun pages. I'm probably going to say that a lot, but this is so much fun to do and just like try all these different colors, because before I was mostly drawing like random things or portraits, so I knew like what colors I had to use, but this was the first time I got to kind of use like every color that my set came with. Here is a full gouache painting I did of my partner, again, while he was playing on the guitar. Some of the black in the guitar part of the painting did like rub off on this side, but I don't want to mess up with it, so this is what we got. It's a little messy. I used masking fluid to do the guitar strings, and it worked actually really well with the gouache paint, so it kind of works with everything because I've only tried it with watercolor before. I haven't done any portraits with gouache before, so this was like my first time doing that, and I have a like very limited amount of colors, so this was a little difficult to get all the greens right, but I'm proud with this whole drawing. A little secret, when I started that 1-color sketchbook challenge, my first color that I was going to do was orange, and this was actually a bunch of like orange stuff in the background, and there's a 3rd fish here, and I just hated the page. I was not having fun with the orange, so I did like spirals in the background, and I was drawing this while I was talking about living with anxiety, so I just wanted to like chill and draw. So here's a portrait in some fruit with faces on them, and if you want to hear about that and like watch the process, that's also a video on my channel. And then here's that first 1-color challenge video where I did all purple. Like I said, orange was the first color that I was going to do because I was going to use a color wheel picker thing the whole time, and then I was just like, I hate orange. I think what happened was I had like not that many orange materials to choose from, so I was having a hard time, but I was looking at other colors and I was like, well, I can absolutely do purple. I have so many purple markers, as you probably saw if you watched this video. And then here is a portrait with some fake stickers. My partner actually thought these were real stickers. I was like, no, I drew those. And then I did like a messy like pink and purple background, and yeah, I just had a lot of fun doing that. And then here's a lot of these are fun pages. Like I said, I'm sorry to keep repeating myself. I guess I ran out of adjectives. But this was a full spread of drawing glasses, as you can see here. And here's another portrait that I did. Not really that exciting of a page. I thought it was really cute to do the blueberries to like match their blue hair, and then I had no idea what to do for the background, so I did orange, to contrast the blue. And then looking back at it, this page was still very empty, so I added yellow, and then still very empty, and then I came back and I added these like purple stars around it. And here's some more portraits wearing glasses. I really got into drawing glasses after this page, so I've just been drawing a lot of glasses, so I wanted to do a page full of people wearing glasses. And then here's another portrait I did of my partner while he was reading a book, and this was very ambitious. This took a really long time to obviously get all of these squares right. Not even a lot of them are not even the same size. I had to spend a lot of time like making sure I wasn't doing the same color next to each other. So this is a fun like little grid background because I don't really do backgrounds, and I was like, I gotta do something different. So I drew a grid and I filled all the little boxes. And I love this page. I did a full page of portraits exclusively using acrylic paint markers, drew them all. I think I drew actually with this purple right here, and then I painted them all in. I love to do like different hair colors and like different hair textures, and it's just like a lot of fun to like do all, to like fit all of these faces in here. And here is sort of a unfinished original character that I came up with. Their name is Bee. They have bug tattoos and they wear star glasses, and that's kind of all I got. But they have like short micro bangs and like beautiful wavy hair, and I got into drawing patterns again. So this was like a tile background pattern, this beautiful teal color, and yeah, this is kind of all I got for them. I love doing their skin though. I have not used my alcohol marker skin tone markers in a really long time, so this was fun to like draw with those again. And I also did a lot of, you know, acrylic paint markers in here, some colored pencil. It was just so fun to like draw somebody just like kind of made up in my mind for the first time in years. I used to draw original characters a lot in high school. There is some bleeding with those really dark colors in there, but I tried to cover it drawing this person with some really cool clothes. It's like striped shirt and a vest, and I thought it was a cool picture, and I liked their outfits, so I drew them. And then here is a little random portrait that I did, and then I came back and added some tomatoes. I've been into drawing tomatoes. They're just like a really fun fruit / vegetable. And we're coming up to a close. This was a blue sketchbook page that I did, only using blue colors. And this wasn't part of anything, but I just wanted to doodle using same colors because I was having fun doing this. And you know, I just used only like 3 pinks and like this looks red on the marker, but it's a very like magenta, like a fuchsia pink color. So yeah, I drew some frames, a person in the frame, a fish, a clover, and these 2 little smiskies. Yeah, I love this blue page though. And for our last page, if you just saw my most recent video where I did a green sketchbook challenge page, this was all green markers and paint markers and colored pencils. This has really been my favorite color lately. Even though there's mostly blue in here, I just really enjoy the color green. And I kept a lot of the palette pages that I used while I was painting a lot of the acrylic painted pages in here. So let's do a little tour of that. I was gonna like glue them all next to the page that I did the painting of, and then I thought that was just like completely wasting a page. So I started just like keeping them in the back. I think this is the one that I did portrait with the person that had pink hair, and I just loved the like blue and the pink colors in here, so I wanted to keep it. One of the gouache paintings that I did of the cat and the cactus and all that stuff. My gouache is like a little oily, so they were actually like sticking to each other for a little bit. You can actually still see a little oil sheen there. Okay, I think this is also gouache because this is like more matte than the acrylic paint that I have, so I can feel it and kind of tell that it's also gouache. I can't remember, I think I did the tomato painting with this, and when I painted my partner, when I did a gouache painting. And this is also a messy page, or this might have been the tomato one. I'm not sure, but again, I saved them all because I thought all the colors together were pretty. And I don't know, maybe I'll have a bunch and save them all and like do some kind of project with them or something. Here we are, the last page and the final page. And that was the full sketchbook tour. I hope you enjoyed. I know a lot of these pages I drew off camera of. I don't know how that happened, because usually my entire sketchbook is full of like drawings that I did for YouTube, but a lot of these pages really weren't, which is why I was so excited to show you, because a lot of these pages you haven't seen until now. absolutely love the sketchbook. I cannot wait to start a new one. Let me know what other sketchbook challenges I should do to make my sketchbooks more fun and to make me have a more fun time drawing, because you know sometimes drawing the same like random things or the same version of something can be boring. So doing sketchbook challenges like that is like a really great way to like kickstart your creativity and just like be excited to draw again. And I've been really having a lot of fun with this challenge. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed watching the sketchbook tour. Please check out all my other sketchbook tours. They're in a playlist. And of course, subscribe for more sketchbook videos, drawing videos. I also make studio vlogs and I have a lot of tutorials of all different kinds of things. And thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you all next time. Goodbye, everybody.